This is Nightline. Tonight, killer on campus, inside the new search for Kristin Smart.
We have never stopped looking for Kristin's body.
The beloved Cal Poly student who vanished after a party.
Just kills me to think about in that moment when my sister disappeared, how no one would take her seriously.
The fellow student behind the crime.
If she's not alive anymore, what do you think happened?
30 years later, could this new lead be a critical break in the case?
We will never stop until justice is served.
Plus, Nick Jonas and Paul Rudd, the Jealous singer. Teaming up with the actor once crowned People's Sexiest Man Alive.
All I did was just throw in a little paprika, a little spice on top.
Some spicy spice.
Add whatever spices you want.
How the duo tapped into playing both friends and foes in their new film, Power Ballad.
This song changed my life.
Both of these guys are trying to achieve their dream.
And Matthew Perry's deeply personal items hitting the auction block. A Friends script, even a Banksy. Actor Selma Blair speaking out about the sale and what this scene from the beloved show has to do with it all.
The Velveteen Rabbit was brown and white.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, the new lead energizing investigators in the search for the remains of Cal Poly student Kristin Smart, who vanished while walking home from a party 3 decades ago, where investigators finally searched what they found and what Kristin Smart's siblings told us about their fight to bring her home.
Kristin Smart was the typical California girl. She was a surfer. She loved the beach.
Probably about 67 out. The sun's going down, and I should have been here earlier.
Kristin Smart was a freshman at Cal Poly.
It was Memorial Day weekend in 1996, and the students who stayed on campus were blowing off steam.
Kristin Smart was hanging with a friend of hers, Margarita Campos. Kristin wanted to go to another party.
But her friend didn't want to go with her.
She went to the party by herself, and that was the last time I saw her.
So as the party progresses, one of the guys who was throwing the party, Tim, he saw Kristin Smart laying face down in the grass, basically intoxicated or drugged to the point of passed out. Cheryl Anderson knew where Kristin's dorm was, so she volunteered to start walking Kristin up to her dorm.
A fellow freshman from the party says, "I know where she lives, and I can help get her home." So Cheryl peels off, and he says that he will continue and he'll make sure that Kristin gets home. That is the last time anyone saw Kristin Smart alive.
Well, in Kristin's case, I think pretty quickly you realize something's wrong. It's not adding up.
Her roommates knew something was very wrong when she didn't come home.
Well, initially the Cal Poly police basically said that it was very likely she had just gone out of town, gone camping.
I went to bed that night and I just prayed, be camping, because I kept calling her dorm.
Just kills me to think about in that moment when my sister disappeared, how no one would take her seriously. People turned around, they're like, she's just on vacation.
It wasn't until Kristin didn't show up to class and the girls made a second report that Cal Poly actually filed a missing persons report and began their investigation.
The most critical time when a person is missing or there's been a commission of a crime is those first 24 to 48 hours.
I think that the challenge with the small university police department is they lack the number of investigators or the experience to conduct an investigation, particularly in the beginning stages of the investigation.
The president of Cal Poly apologized to the Smart family in 2023, saying in part, "We recognize that things should have been done differently, and I personally wish that they had."
Today, every field, every patch of brush, and every rolling hill was scoured by law enforcement officers. Still no sign of 19-year-old Kristin Smart.
The investigator for the campus police, they were saying, you know, we've run out of leads. And I said, no, you have to go to the last people that saw her alive.
Police have been told that the last person to get Kristin home or to be seen with her is this freshman called Paul Flores. He tells the police that he saw Kristin walk away toward her dorm and that he went to his.
Yeah, you're grasping this, that this is very serious business with a missing woman and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're aware of all this.
I'm aware of this.
5 weeks after Kristin Smart disappeared, law enforcement bring cadaver dogs to Paul Flores' dorm.
4 different cadaver dogs were separately brought to the Santa Lucia dorm. They almost immediately went right to room 128, Paul Flores' dorm.
The dog alerted to the corner of the mattress, and it was a very intense alert.
Police want to talk to Paul again. This time, they're recording it on video.
If she's not alive anymore, what do you think happened? I would say like someone who she hitchhiked with or something abducted her or something, you know. Why would she be hitchhiking? Well, I'm saying, you know, people said they saw her hitchhiking.
Flores also told conflicting stories about how he got a black eye. First, he says he got it playing basketball, and later saying he hid it on the steering wheel of his truck.
Well, you lied to us, though, right? Oh, it's not really lies, the fib. It's so minute. It's not. Well, I guess you can call it like a little white lie. But how you got your black eye is a white lie? Yep.
And then they say to him, you know, we'd really like you to take a polygraph. And all of a sudden, he changes his tune.
I told you I had to talk to my parents and stuff. Well, if you're telling us the truth, why do you have to talk to your parents? Because I do.
Paul walks out, ends the interview, and that is the last time that Paul is interviewed by police in the case of Kristin Smart.
At this point, law enforcement has something, but not necessarily enough for an arrest of Paul Flores. For years, 1.5 decades, nothing happens. And it's not until a new sheriff by the name of Sheriff Ian Parkinson gets involved and says, I vow to find the answers.
Sometimes a new set of eyes looking at something, you'll see something a little differently, and maybe that's our break.
The appetite from the public for news of this case has always been there. It really ramped up when Chris Lambert began releasing episodes of his Your Own Backyard podcast.
Chris Lambert wasn't someone with an investigative background like a news reporter. He was a music producer, a musician.
A woman I spoke to strongly suspects that she was drugged by Paul. At least one woman believes that Paul drugged her after she had already consented to having sex with him.
Chris did come up with, you know, a couple of really good leads and witnesses for us.
We were in the process of doing a wiretap and investigating and moving this case along at the same time.
Police now serve a search warrant on Paul Flores' San Pedro home.
A possible break in a 23-year-old cold case, the disappearance of Kristin Smart.
On his electronics, they find a folder labeled Practice, which contains what authorities say was homemade pornography, allegedly showing Paul sexually assaulting women who are unconscious.
Authorities executing several search warrants.
That search didn't result in charges, but the investigation never stopped.
In 2021, police get a search warrant to not only search the father's house, but to dig up the backyard, specifically under the porch. And police bring in these experts using ground-penetrating radar.
We found what appeared to be staining that was consistent with human decomposition. We collected soil samples, and because there were dark clumps of sand within these decomp stainings, and we later discovered that that was human blood.
They also found fibers of clothing in colors that matched what Kristin was wearing the last day she was seen alive.
There's enough circumstantial evidence. Law enforcement believes we have enough to go before a jury. We have enough to arrest this man.
The San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office arrested 44-year-old Paul Flores this morning.
His father, Ruben Flores, was also arrested as an accomplice to the crime, under the belief that he might have helped his son cover up the crime after the fact.
After a 12-week trial, Paul Flores was found guilty of murdering Kristin Smart.
He murdered Kristin with zero remorse or concern.
While his father, Ruben Flores, was acquitted.
When they said guilty, I did get a high.
On all charges, yeah.
Yeah, and a sense of relief that justice was finally here.
Well, the story, unfortunately, isn't over. And it will never be over until they find Kristin.
We had unfinished business. Kristin wasn't with her family.
I think finding Kristin's remains will help my parents sleep better at night.
Right around the 30th anniversary of Kristin's death, police went back to the house of her killer's mother, Susan Flores, and dug up her yard, looking for Kristin.
Paul Flores' mother has never been charged or even accused of anything associated with Kristin Smart.
We had developed enough probable cause to go back to Susan Flores' house on Branch Street and execute a search warrant.
Authorities excavated her yard and tested the soil with ground-penetrating radar.
We believe that a human remains were there at one time or still there. So we can't call it Kristin, but we think there's evidence to support human remains.
We have still some analysis to do. I'm not stopping until this is over, until we have Kristin back.
One thing that I could tell Paul Flores and the Flores family, we will never stop. We will never stop until justice is served.
And for much more on this story, including the latest on what was found in the yard of the murderer's mother, watch Killer on Campus, now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. And now a look ahead at tomorrow's show. It was a double murder case that gripped much of the nation. A Virginia husband and father convicted of enlisting the help of the family's au pair, with whom he was having an affair, to kill his wife and another man.
Who is the shooter? Who shot who?
The killer at the center of the case faces sentencing day. What will be his fate? And when we come back, Nick Jonas and Paul Rudd team up on the big screen in Power Ballad. It just might be the musical bro-bonding movie of the summer.
So good.
Welcome back. Singer Nick Jonas and actor Paul Rudd are undeniable success stories at the top of their games. Now joining forces, striking a beautiful chord together in Power Ballad, about two guys who are pretty much at the opposite end of things, failing, flailing, and trying to keep it all going. They sat down with Nightline's Ashin Singh.
Wow. Danny Wilson, you were great up there. Come with me. I could tell within 2 minutes of meeting you, you are not just some boy band guy. And you are too good for that wedding band.
This is a film about a washed-up wedding singer who has this beautiful track that he's been sitting on for years, and then Danny comes in, and he takes it, and he makes it big. What was sort of this needle that you guys were trying to thread as adversaries, but also as kind of creative partners at one point in the movie who kind of turn on each other?
It's tricky because it does talk about, like, well, who owns what?
Right.
Who's responsible? Like, there's only a certain amount of notes. You know, you can construct them in different ways.
Never gonna run if you don't walk. Never gonna talk, but don't look down.
This song was not finished. I mean, Nick's character certainly is contributing to the track that he releases.
What?
There's a lot of gray area, and that's what is interesting. It's not such a black and white thing.
This song changed my life.
One of the things that I really appreciated, Nick, was the character of Danny isn't portrayed as sort of this larger-than-life pop star as we normally see them in film. Like, they're sensitive, they're very insecure. What did you have to tap into to portray Danny in a way that, like Paul said, you kind of feel for her?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to the writing. These circumstances that surround Danny and his life and his fame and where he's at in his career and all those things are just a backdrop to a person who's going through a real identity crisis. I definitely related to a lot of the things that Danny's going through in this movie, going back to when I was kind of breaking off solo and trying to find my sound and myself.
What was it like sharing the stage? I mean, Nick, did you have to coach Paul up at all? Or what was it like actually singing the song together?
No, there was zero coaching. It was teamwork the whole way around, and he blew me away with his singing. You know, obviously we know Paul's one of the best actors alive, and I've been a fan of his forever. And I mean
that's well, I appreciate it, Nick.
And
you're wrong, but thanks.
And it was great to see him jump into the music side of things with such ease, and that was our first day on set together, which I think was the perfect way to kick things off.
You mentioned sort of the familiarity of the role coming from the Jonas Brothers yourself and making it on your own as a solo artist. How many of the experiences that Danny faces in that movie felt real to you and something that you experienced in the industry yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think pressure from the industry to come with your next hit. You know, there are times people would say you're only as good as your next hit, and on one end of the spectrum, that's true. But once a star, always a threat, right? You can always get in a room, work with the right people, and find that song that can change your life at any moment in time. That goes for any artist, and that's kind of what happens for Danny.
'Cause every song I ever wrote in my life, it's about you.
So good. Although he takes the song and doesn't give him the credit, you know, we see what can happen when there's a sort of a collaboration that creates some magic.
So cameras coming forward through you, take 5.
Cheers to that.
Both of your characters are coming from two very different perspectives, but they kind of seem to be chasing the same thing.
Well, I think it's just both of these guys are trying to achieve their dream. You know, they want to accomplish something, and they see what's in front of them, what they want to be, and each one of them is close to it. One's a little closer than the other, but it's all relative, and the struggles and the doors slamming in your face are there. So both of these characters experience that in their own way.
Don't look down.
Can I have that? Look, all I did was just throw in a little paprika, a little spice on top.
Some spicy spice.
Add whatever spices you want.
Without giving away any spoilers, one thing I really appreciate about this movie is that it's kind of messy in the way that it ends. It's not sort of has that traditional bow on it where everybody's happy and walks away. Did it feel grounded for y'all ending the movie the way that it did?
It did to me, because life is a little messy. There was one thing that was added at the end that was so brilliant, it kind of hit me pretty hard. So I think it's a great way to end it.
Our thanks to Ashen. Power Ballad is in theaters now. And when we come back, a sneak peek at the deeply personal items from Matthew Perry, including a childhood toy and a piece of top-shelf artwork up for auction to do good for others. Finally tonight, why so many personal items from Matthew Perry are on the auction block. The beloved Friends star's childhood stuffed bunny and a copy of The Velveteen Rabbit, which fans are sure to remember.
I thought he'd love it. His favorite kid's book was The Velveteen Rabbit.
The Velveteen Rabbit was brown and white.
Also a signed Friends script, even a diptych of Banksy's iconic Girl with Balloon. Perry's friend and fellow actor Selma Blair putting her voice behind the auction on Instagram.
I loved him. And I bet you loved him too. And let's keep his heart and his spirit going.
Bidding is open now to benefit the Matthew Perry Foundation, which helps those struggling with addiction. Now all part of his legacy. That's Nightline. You can watch all of our full episodes on Disney Plus and Hulu. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks for staying up with us. Good night, America.